Welcome to the presentation of our database assignment on gamification for MEDT 8463, presented by Jennifer Duckett, Jordan Jameson, Shelby Ledford, and Macy Parrish. During this presentation, we will cover an overview of gamification, the uses of gamification, an application of gamification within the K-12 setting, and our final thoughts on gamification. Gamification overview. What is gamification? Gamification is a trend that involves using game-based mechanics, aesthetics, and game thinking to engage people, motivate action, promote learning, and solve problems. Gamification is not merely adding points or learning badges or rewards to learning experiences. It is purposely planning and curating content with a careful and considered application of game thinking to solving problems and encouraging learning using all the elements of games that are appropriate.
Knowledge, skills, and abilities supported by gamification. Gamification is used to support knowledge, skills, and abilities such as long-term retention, content mastery, information recall, critical thinking skills, and other various 21st century skills. As noted by CAP in 2014, retrieval practice and spaced retrieval are two learning practices that are more common to gamification. Retrieval practice refers to the recall of information instead of redelivery of content. Learners being presented with the information spaced over time, as opposed to all at once, is spaced retrieval. This promotes long-term retention. When the two practices are used in conjunction, these techniques help learners create a solid foundation for increased learning and long-term retention.
The uses of gamification. There are three main uses of gamification. They are in education, in mobile apps, and in industry trainings. Gamification in education is used in all parts of the learning process, from introducing new content all the way to assessing what students have learned throughout the process. Gamification also takes a more individualized approach to learning by allowing students to walk through different games or scenarios set up through gamification at their own pace, and that meets their learning needs best. Research findings specifically by these two researchers in 2024 showed that using gamification in education improves academic performance, increases engagement, and has higher retention rates compared to using traditional and online learning. The other use of gamification is in mobile applications. There are certain characteristics in mobile apps pointed out by this author in 2023, which are that they improve user engagement because they can earn badges and points and progress through levels and track their performance. And they also increase social interactions with other users, so people are drawn to apps that use gamification. Some common gamified app types include learning apps, which teaches information, language, coding, and traditional school subjects. Another common app type is productivity apps that use gamification for balancing chores, creating new habits, getting your tasks done. Budgeting apps are also a typical app that use gamification to track, manage, and invest money. And then finally are healthcare apps that traditionally use gamified systems to meet various health goals and needs. So as you can see, there's a plethora of different types of apps that use gamified subjects. The last main use of gamification is for industry trainings. By certain organizations, as CAP in 2012 points out, the main organizations that use gamification is military, healthcare, retail, sports, and manufacturing. The purpose of using gamified trainings is to create scenarios for task completion or skill learning that they may not be able to use otherwise. They enhance employee performance mainly. Some benefits of using gamification over traditional training methods is to master skills with specific vocational roles. Employees can engage with real-world training simulations. So an example would be the military uses gamification for a rescue mission simulation to practice it without risk. As a work-based learning teacher, I have seen how this can benefit my students who work at a manufacturing organization like Kubota. They get training for machinery for 2 weeks, and then they are certified in it and can safely operate heavy machinery trainings like forklifts in the manufacturing floor with minimal risk to their safety.
The strengths of gamification. It often improves motivation and engagement. These games are fun, so many students are more engaged and motivated. It promotes positive attitudes. One study found that it can reduce test anxiety. The researchers noted a study where gamification reduced foreign language test anxiety for those taking foreign language exams. It can increase attendance and participation. Our research noted that it produced higher rates of attendance, participation, greater student engagement on forums, and increased quantity and quality of student contributions. And it can increase achievement. Our research noted the increased achievement levels for students. There are challenges to gamification. It can lead to frustration or negative social comparison. While some students may have increased achievement, not all will experience this growth, and some students may feel defeated. There is a lot of upfront work on the part of the teacher. Making sure that the game is purposeful can take significant time and effort. This upfront work is key to help students learn. Learner characteristics, student preferences for game types, and even factors such as a student's place on the extroversion and introversion scale can play a role in how effective gamification can be in your classroom.
Now we are going to explore the application of gamification within a K through 12 setting. Gamification started in the business and marketing industries in 2008 and then later expanded into the education sector. Though digital gamification is more recent, educators have been adding game elements to non-digital content for decades. Gamification is used to support many learning skills in the K through 12 setting, such as information recall, critical thinking, improved motivation and engagement, long-term retention, and content mastery. It is also used to provide instructional supports, such as feedback, interactivity, collaboration, personalization, and choice. De Gonzada et al. Found gamification was most used in teaching the content of language, mathematics, and science in different learning environments, such as Moodle, iSign, Kahoot, Duolingo, Peerwise, Voltaire, and more. Though these content areas are where the study found gamification most used in education, it is also used across several other content areas.
Gamification creates an effective learning environment that is engaging and enjoyable in K through 12 classrooms. There are several research findings that support this idea. However, one done in 2017 and one done in 2024, point out specific ways that gamification impacts students and learning. In the first study in 2007 listed, gamification encourages learner engagement and enhances knowledge and skills. The second one, done in 2024, findings showcase that gamification is an effective learning approach. The results of using gamification over other methods have resulted in improving outcomes like student motivation, engagement, and retention over traditional and online learning techniques.
When using a game, you need to ask yourself, is the game suitable for the learning content? Is the learning content suitable for a game? What is the student's prior knowledge? And what are my students' preferences for games? Other considerations include you need to establish a clear goal when implementing a game for learning. This makes it easier to plan and evaluate the success of the game, allowing you to make any future improvements. You need to consider your students' learning preferences and motivations. Some learners are motivated by extrinsic rewards, autonomy, and perhaps mastery or purpose, so you need to find a game type that appeals to your particular group of students and their reward system. Age, culture, and even academic performance can play a role in how receptive students are, so not all students will be interested in competitive learning games for various reasons. You need to know your students and vary your methods and use of gaming techniques to respond to this. Certain subjects are more effective with certain games. For example, card-style games are great for matching or recognizing patterns, manipulating numbers, and Jeopardy-style games are better suited for learning verbal or more concrete concepts. And there is a potential that games can erode intrinsic motivation. To avoid this, don't always offer external rewards or overuse gamification in your classroom.
Modifications for special groups. In the field of special education, students typically face instructional challenges that need to be modified and tailored to their learning abilities. Well thought out design and adaptation are essential to ensure the games are accessible to all students, no matter the cognitive and physical constraints. Teachers should also have a balance between game elements and educational content as to not diminish the learning objectives. There are several key steps and thoughts when implementing gamification in the special education classroom. To begin, the teacher should identify clear goals to help guide the gamification design to ensure the alignment of the students' individualized education programs, or IEPs. Teachers should also select the elements of the game that will seemingly engage and motivate students, such as badges, points, rewards, etc. It is extremely important that the elements are appropriate for the student's age. According to Ahmad et al., for instance, younger students or those with limited attention spans might benefit from simple and immediate rewards like points or stickers, while older students might find more complex challenges and levels engaging. The games should meet the individual needs of each student so that the learning experience is personalized. It is also important that technology is used to implement gamification. Technology allows the teacher to monitor student progress through the data provided to adjust as necessary to enhance the gamification experience for students and ensure they are meeting the learning goals set. Having a positive and supportive environment helps the students to feel safe enough to try new things and make mistakes. Ahmad et al. States that a critical element of gamification is immediate feedback because it helps students understand their progress, recognize their achievements, and identify areas for improvement. The last key step when implementing gamification in the special education classroom is to involve stakeholders. This can provide supplementary assistance to strengthen learning at home and in the community.
Our final thoughts on gamification are that it has many research based proven benefits across various settings in education, mobile apps, and industries. Learner engagement and participation are improved, along with content retention. Gamification does take careful planning and consideration to infuse student knowledge, preference, and content within a gamified experience to maximize learning for all, including those with cognitive and physical constraints. The implementation of a gamified experience also has to be purposefully planned.
Overall, gamification is a versatile technology tool that has many purposes and benefits users in various ways across diverse settings. Thank you for listening to our presentation. You will find our references for our project on the following slides.